Welcome to another episode of the Life Adventurist podcast. I'm Jenny Holla, your host, and this is the place to be for all spiritual entrepreneurs and conscious leaders who are on a self-discovery journey to really go deeper into understanding who they are and trusting themselves, expanding their intuition, of course, learning more about the Akashic records, and exploring edges of spirituality. In this episode, I'm really going to be sharing, this is a beast of an episode. It could go into 2 episodes. We're going to see how this happens. My intention is to pour my heart out, to share with you a bit of what my journey's been like around belief, trust, surrender, faith, all of these things. And really speak to you from the place where I am right now and what I see ahead. And my goal is I want to help you to feel not alone, but also for this to be a resource in the future for anyone who is going through this type of experience, to just hear what it was like for someone else as they were going through it. What are some of the challenges, to help you potentially navigate it or have more confidence and trust in yourself that you've got it and it will all work out. That is my goal. Also, I am here on video with this on YouTube because I've been wanting to also record my solo podcast episodes and put them on YouTube, and it's something I have been not wanting to do fully because a topic like this, I kind of prefer to be lounged back on the couch, or to be in my car, or be somewhere where it feels safe to me. And even though there are so many people that would listen potentially to the episode, there's something about having my face with it and sharing these things that, to be honest, kind of scares me. And I'm okay with that, which is why I'm here and I'm leaning in. The other thing I'm going to share with you before I start sharing even more is that I already was about 10 minutes into the podcast, and I'm here at a park, as you can see in the background, and I was trying to find the best place. This park is beautiful. There's a lot of people here. It's finally cooled off here in Oklahoma, and I was next to a lake. I thought I found this super great spot where nobody would come. People kept coming, sitting nearby. There's a frisbee golf course here, so there was just lots of ruckus and activity, and I just felt so exposed. And I just want to speak somewhere where I feel like I can just talk and not have anybody overhearing me, which is just so ironic because so many people who I don't know are going to hear this podcast as well as watch this video. And it's just funny how our mind works sometimes. And this is actually a bit of a sneak peek into some of the things I'm going to share with you today. All right, let's dive in. Let me back up. Last episode, if you didn't hear it, and you don't have to hear it before watching or listening to this one, but I want to give you another tool, is that last episode I talked about, with my husband, belief, self-trust, faith, and really anchoring in these things. And I shared some definitions that came through from the Akashic records. And we just really talked about that. So if that's something you want to be a part of that conversation, that's where you can go. And what I realized is that I am being asked, and I am being called, and possibly you are too, to really anchor in belief and trust and faith that it will all work out. Now, it goes a little bit beyond that, because for me, this has been related to business and business working out and clients coming and having the success and the financial success that I desire, and possibly you desire too. And the reason I know that it's likely you desire it too is because this has been coming up with clients. This has been coming up in networking meetings and even in my own life, where this is a topic on many's hearts and minds. And I feel like this is my experience. Possibly it's happening beyond where I've been aware of it in my journey, is I feel like a lot of us entrepreneurs, especially when we're out at networking events and meeting new people, we want to put on the best face and act as if we have this amazing, powerful, successful business, and we're making plenty of money, and we have lots of clients because we want others to trust and believe in us too, and we don't want to show that maybe we're struggling with some of those things, or maybe we don't have as many clients as we want, or maybe we're confused on like why things aren't working out, even though we've put our heart, mind, and soul into it, and we've done all the things and it's still not working. I feel like that's a place that exists in the entrepreneurial world where it can be a little challenging to navigate. And I'm not saying I've navigated it well in the past, because I've definitely acted as if. Now, quick caveat, there is power in acting as if in some scenarios. And acting as if, and I would say like bypassing or ignoring what is present, when I have found that for me in my journey with everything being brought to this space, I can't continue to ignore the things that I now need to face. Okay, so here's the thing. I've spent, you guys, some of you have probably heard this story, and some of you have heard pieces of this, is that I have spent, I've had a very fruitful career in corporate America. I made 6 figures very early. I had a house. I traveled all over. A lot of things were very easy for me from that perspective. An overachiever, always like one of the top performers in sports and accolades and all those things. And when it came to my business and having my own content clients, experiences, I have really, really, really struggled over the years with confidence in my work, trusting myself, believing. And even though I have spent lots of time learning and being in conversations about intuition and law of attraction and law of assumption, and those things make sense to me intellectually, it still has been something that at some level I have mocked, or I've made fun of, or really didn't fully believe and embody, as far as, you know, being like, oh yeah, just believe it's all gonna come. Well, it's not here now. Like, I've done those things. Or even hearing Amanda Merritt, who was on the podcast, and I don't think she shared this on the podcast, but I've heard her talk about this in some of her content and training. And she said, you know, I had 5 cents in my bank account, and then I, you know, blew up to 6 figures in 6 months or whatever. I forget the time frame. And it's like, I hear those things, or I've heard those things in the past, and I'm like, oh, good for you. And at the same time, there are so many books and resources and coaches and people talking about surrender, have trust, have faith that it will all work out. And I never really fully understood until like now what that really means. At least what it means for me, and what it could potentially mean for you is fucking believing and trusting that it will work out. Because I have used my mind in so many ways to arrive to a lot of different success points. I've been able to navigate with the logical aspect, and I'm sure there's been intuition sprinkled throughout, but from a logical perspective, I've been able to navigate things and have great success with it. Stepping into my work with the Akashic Records is that it is absolutely important for me to fully trust and believe that it will work out. It is important for me to really, really practice this fully, to really be present with it, to help, because I've been shown, and I know that currently I'm leading other people through it, like side by side, like, hey, this is what the record keepers are sharing with me, and this is what's coming through for you, and here's the similarities, and I'm telling you that I have the same fears and the same challenges, and I am all in. Like, I am making this happen. And as much as I'd love to tell you I'm on the other side, and yes, it's going to work, I still have my doubts at times, and being like, well, I don't know, will it work? Like, am I leading people this way? Like, I have these doubts and fears just like you. Like, okay, you're telling me to trust and believe, but like, I don't see anything in my bank account, or I don't see the clients that I want, or I don't have the fill in the blank, right? The interesting thing that I'm realizing is that it is about choosing a different reality and choosing to believe that that is in fact the quote unquote way to get there. And this may not be part of your story, and I have a feeling it's going to be a part of mine, is it's me facing all of my fears like in the face about what money means or success means or what a certain amount of clients means or how I look as an entrepreneur or any of those things. It's like facing those things straight on, head on. And when things don't look like they're working, continuing to choose over and over and over again to believe that it is in fact working out. I already have proof that it is, because I have successfully channeled and guided and led an amazing group of souls, of people through 7 weeks of magic group experience. I had no idea what the content was going to be. I had an idea of the premise, an idea of the outcomes, but I had no idea what was going to come through. And it was the most powerful experience that I could have never planned from a logical standpoint in my life. So I'm gonna check my notes here because I want to make sure I stay like relatively on track. Okay, I'm sharing a bit of like where I get caught up. Okay. I have recently started to notice where I sabotage myself and where I am noticing and breaking old patterns. And the reason that I've been able to do this is because I've heard, likely like you have, time and time again, to notice. Have awareness, hold space, notice what's coming up, have awareness of what's coming up. And you're like, yeah, I'm having awareness, right? Like having the, like it's like the resistance that comes up in that. And I have years and years and years of practicing this, and not saying at all that this has to be your story. I'm just letting you know that for me, I have held on very deeply to some beliefs about who I am and what things mean, as well as being hard on myself, even though I've likely talked about, I'm sure, on a live at some point, or coached somebody at some point, or said something at some point of like, don't be hard on yourself. Just don't do it. Like be gentle, be nice. And those are things that I have been practicing. And it's like, I feel like we hit a point sometimes where we start to realize like, damn, I've been overcomplicating things. Or I'm so sick of feeling this way. I'm so sick of showing up this way. I'm so sick of this being my reality. And for me, some of the cycles that have been coming up is like, okay, I'll tell you one that's recent. So I shared that I just finished 7 weeks of magic group experience. Well, actually tomorrow, as of this recording, tomorrow is the last. There ended up being a bonus call as part of it, is what the record keepers led me to. So tomorrow's like the last call of that experience. And what happened is my mind cycled and said, okay, now what? How are you going to get money? Where are the clients going to come from? Like, go do something, go make some content, go meet some people. I don't know. It was wanting to put me into action. And I then started shifting into a lot of doubt and a lot of fear of being like, okay, there's X amount of money in the bank account. There's X amount of money coming in. There's X amount of money going out. The numbers aren't mathing. Oh my God, how is this going to work out? To where I have jumped all the way months ahead and thinking about like, oh fuck, what if this doesn't work? How are we going to pay this, and this? How am I going to pay this, and that? How is this going to happen? And every time that has happened, and I will tell you, it has happened a lot. Every time that has happened, I have chosen the path of that awareness and noticing. And I feel like a big piece of this is, and this is something that was taught and expanded on in my time with Joanna Naughton in her Unleash Your Abundance course. And she was also on my podcast. So if you want to feel her energy and see all that out, you can listen to that episode. Is that, yes, you're noticing, and yes, you have awareness, and also you're holding space for what is without having it mean anything. The record keepers have also shared this in a different way through the 7 weeks of magic experience. And the way that they shared it, they gave me like some pictures of stick figures. Well, that's what I can draw. So it was like these stick figures where, you know, we have ourselves and we have our identity and we have these thoughts and beliefs and these things that are our identity. Like, I'm me and this thought is me, and it's all attached. It's all here. It's all together. And it's as if your thoughts and your beliefs are you. And that's what makes your identity. Then the next phase is when you start to notice and you realize that your thoughts and beliefs are not you, that they are separate from you, and they are just that, thoughts and beliefs. So then they come out into this circle for the visual. They come outside of you. And in this next visual, we start to pull them outside of us and recognize them for what they are. Yet at the same time, sometimes there's like this dotted line, as if it were like a balloon string, this dotted line coming back to us because, you know, we put them out there and then we're like, wait, I don't know what to do without that being a part of me. And we pull it back in. Or we question and doubt and go back to old behaviors and old beliefs or whatever it is. Then as we move forward in the progression, and in this example, is that we then are like, there's no more dotted like string up to the balloon. And we are like, oh wow, okay, cool. Those thoughts and beliefs are just like orbiting in my field. They are not me. I'm not attached to them. And what I've been doing a lot of lately is I'm like, oh, that's cute. That's cute that I'm getting pissed about that. That's cute that I'm about to cycle on that thing that I've sabotaged myself for so long in, that I've been frustrated I haven't been able to break the cycle. Oh wow, that's cute. And I laugh because it just makes me laugh, because it's like, oh, that's cute. That's cute that I do that, because I feel like in that space, we're able to show acceptance and love. And it's between this step and the next step where we say something along the lines of, you know what? It's okay. It's okay that I have these doubts and fears that come up. It's okay that I sabotage myself. It's okay that I've shown up in this way or had this mean a certain thing. And it's okay if that's the way that it is. I accept it, and I'm okay with it being here. And it's in these moments, the ones that we try so hard to get to, yet it really is not about this moment. It's like in this moment, it releases. It's like the thing that we're trying to release, anytime we try to release it, anytime we try to let go and surrender, or we try to do these things, it's like focusing on the wrong thing. Because what if you were just to focus on holding space for what is? What if you were to focus on being in the present moment and realizing that this present moment, yes, what you may see in front of you is no clients, or have the perception that there are no clients, or whatever it is that you're working on, is that you may have this perception that there is not enough of something that you feel like you should have more of. And so you see this in your reality, yet at the same time, this is where the step in the transition comes in, of anchoring in the belief and the faith and trusting yourself and practicing all these things, right? Like, it's like these little things that you practice with the awareness and being like, you know what? What if I were to believe that it is working out? And this is where some of those as if statements can come in potentially. It's like, what if I were to believe that it is working out, and that things are already in motion, and that clients are already coming my way, and that also with this, that I have been taking those steps from aligned action to show up, from the inspired, intuitive nudges that I've been receiving, that I have also been working on showing up and coming into more full alignment with who I am at a soul level. And I'm trusting that it is all happening behind the scenes on my behalf. I'm trusting in the universe, God, source, spirit. I'm trusting in something bigger than me. I've heard this concept shared, and I did not grow up in a religious background, so I'm not attuned to the different religions as far as some of the vernacular in them. I will say that I heard on a podcast that I was listening to, and they were speaking what was more from like a Christian standpoint. They were sharing something what felt to me very similar to what I'm sharing now, using some of the Christian terms and really putting your faith and trust in God, that He will provide, that He will deliver what it is that you need if you're willing to listen. If you're willing to listen to Him when He places something on your soul, when He places something in your path, to make those potentially illogical, tough decisions. When you hear that whisper of quit the job and go this direction, and it doesn't make logical sense. These little things that could be that big thing that changes everything, or they can be the little steps. Show up and share this. Show up from a really aligned place. Show up and share what's on your heart. And He, and then in the terms I've been using, that the universe, spirit will provide. Listening to your intuition, listening to God, listening to source, having those things, allowing space for those things to drop in. Oh, another one. I got another one here. One thing that is really also where I've gotten stuck is in the need and the desire, even if it's at a subconscious level, the need and the desire for external validation. And what I find interesting about this, and even in my experience, is that some of these things I definitely never wanted to admit to, or I felt like I had already moved past, or I'd already dealt with. And then they come up again, and I'm like, no, it's not here. I've already done it. And I've kicked and screamed. You know, it's the place that I've come into more and more and more as part of this experience is really detaching from things having a meaning. Detaching from what I think or perceive to be the case. And really practicing over and over and over, anchoring in self-trust, in belief, in faith. That for me is the practice. On a future episode, it might be the next one or two after that, on a future episode, I'm going to share in more detail about my money story and what that's been like. And that'll be the first time that I'm sharing it in a very public way. Right now it feels like it could be a part 1. Could possibly have a part 2. And what I mean by that is like part 1 will be kind of like sharing like, I'm putting this out here, oh my God. And then part 2 is like, okay, I did that, I moved some energy, now I can speak into it deeper. That's what I feel like it's going to be, but who knows? Maybe it'll be different. Is that this external validation, even little comments like maybe you're looking at what other people do on social media, or how other people market or whatever, I don't know, just stuff like that, and you're like, wow, there are so many things that are annoying. I don't want to be annoying, so therefore I'm afraid to post because I'm afraid that I'm going to be annoying, or I'm afraid to reach out because I'm afraid I'm going to be annoying, or I'm going to be too much, or I'm going to be too salesy or too over the top. Definitely thought those things, and those things keep us from moving forward. Those things keep us stuck and keep us in the place that we really don't desire to be. And as you continue on this journey and you continue to deepen this connection with yourself, and you continue to practice the trust and the faith, when I share messages like this on my podcast or on social media, channeled messages or different things, I'm not thinking when I post it, like, I hope that this isn't annoying or I hope that this isn't too salesy. It's like this inspired action, and I just know that sharing it is my next step. And so it's a whole different frequency, right? It's almost like that other one is more in like fear and lack and scarcity, potentially. I'm not here. I'm just potentially. And then, it's like this other one is this more embodied, trusting in yourself and taking these steps and moving forward. And so detaching from this external validation of wanting people to like me or wanting my stuff to be good enough or just like all the things, detaching from things having a meaning. Like just here recently, I was like mad at myself because I was doing like nothing. And even though I know logically and intellectually that doing nothing is fine, I still have been putting pressure on myself, like, oh, why haven't I been putting out more Akashic Record Channel messages? Why haven't I been putting out, being more in the week by week consistency with my email newsletter? Why haven't, there's been that underlying pressure. And this week I was sitting and talking to Jay and I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I literally just channeled a powerful program through the records, and that was what was requiring my attention. And I'm already being guided in a different direction, or in continuing the direction to lead people to get into the records and teaching the records. And if I'm constantly occupied with these other things and these other stressors and these other fears, then where is the space for the new intuition, the new creativity, the new whatever, the next steps to come through if I'm constantly in this cycle of lack and lack of trust? Those are the questions I've been asking myself, to where I've been choosing a different outcome. So the things that I've been doing is I've been anchoring and practicing patience. It can be tough. Patience. It's happening. I'm booked out. It's happening. Getting up every day and being like, I'm a motherfucking badass. YouTube, I probably can't say that on YouTube. So I'm a bad, I'm a mother, these things, coming back to the present moment. So when I'm spiraling out and I'm going, oh my God, in December, how are we going to pay the bills? Because I don't have any clients. Hold on. Not true. I do have clients, and I have this intuitive nudge that was downloaded about my next steps. So chill out, lady. It's give it space to breathe. Those are the conversations I'm having every day. Doing the work, showing up every day, these are the things. So I shared all this because this is how it's going now. And I will tell you that one other thing that is really pulling me and holding me accountable to this is that I know that if I give up on this journey and I give in, and let's say, get a job or something because I need the money or whatever it is, or I really falter from this, cool, it's fine because it's a learning experience. But I know that if I give up, there are too many of you who are alongside in this journey who would be deeply and potentially negatively impacted by me giving up. I'm not going to do it. I am going to continue to show up and have this faith and this trust and this belief that it is happening and that it will work out and that clients are going to show up, so that I can hold and continue to hold the space and hold it even stronger for you and for those of you who are meant to connect to me in the future who may have this same type of challenge, so I can anchor in and be like, I went through that and that shit was tough, but I got you, and I'm gonna hold and I'm gonna be here as a bridge, as an anchor of belief for you, and I'm going to let you borrow as much faith and belief until you can have it yourself, because I know that it's going to work out for you. I know that it is. That right there is why I'm sharing this episode and why I am sharing this so rawly, something that honestly scared me at first when I pressed record. And as I'm finishing up this episode, I'm realizing it's really not that scary. It's not as scary as what I made it out to be. It's not as scary as what I made it out to be. And actually, if anything, it is deepening my belief, and it is deepening like beholding this for myself and for others. It's like it's making it stronger. It's making it stronger. I am super passionate about this, and I'm so excited that I'm sharing this with you. There are two more things that I want to share. One is a metaphor that can help you to look at faith, belief, and self-trust in an even deeper way. And the other thing is going to be a message that was channeled through the Akashic Records recently, and that's what I'd like to end on. So the first thing that I'm going to share is that when you look at faith, belief, and self-trust, imagine as if faith were the door, and that belief was the key that opens and unlocks the door. And self-trust is what helps you to take the steps through the door into the portal of possibilities, which is one of the things that was one of the very first messages that came through in 7 Weeks of Magic. Stepping over and into the threshold, into the portal of possibilities. Faith is the door. Belief is the key that unlocks the door. And self-trust is what helps you to walk through the door. Man, I feel that so much, and I hope you feel it too. God, I feel that. All right. Message channeled from the record keepers. You are enough. The more that you loosen the sometimes tight grip on many different aspects of your life, the more space you will have to connect deeper with and to truly believe the idea that you are enough. I'd love to hear from you on how this resonated with you. I'd love to hear from you where you're at in your journey and what kind of things that you've done to help you anchor into faith, trust, self-trust, and belief. And what else really made sense for you in this podcast, in this episode, in this YouTube, in this video. I'd really love to hear that. So you can post in the comments or send me a message at the Akashic Nomad on Instagram. I'm going to say something else too that I think I've heard this on other podcasts, and it just totally makes sense to me, is that I don't think I've ever asked, or maybe like, I don't know, once, I think it's in my outro, it's like, oh, subscribe to the podcast, but by then you've probably already clicked off, like, thanks, see you later, is that if you could give me a 5-star rating, go ahead and, not me, the podcast, a 5-star rating on the podcast apps, and even leave a review. That would be super helpful in helping the algorithm to get this out to more people. And if you are still here on YouTube on the video, it would also be helpful for you to subscribe to the channel and to write a comment. I believe those are the things that helps it, but I think even more so is if this was helpful, share it with other people. I think that's even more important, but also we know playing the algorithm game and all of that. Deep breaths. Deep breaths, deep breaths. You've got this. You are enough. And I'll see you on the next episode.